Welcome to the On Your Mind podcast, where we believe mental illness can be temporary and transformative. Stay tuned for innovative, effective tools from experts in the field of mental health. Hosted by Timothy J. Hayes, psychologist. This podcast aims to change the narrative around mental illness. Move from a place of fear to a place of hope and solutions. Here on Your Mind.
Jose Pereira is a highly acclaimed leadership and resilience coach, author, and motivational speaker. He's known for his compelling personal story of resilience as an international hostage for 5 years. Jose has penned the powerful memoir, From Hero to Villain. As one of the most vocal voices in the United States on hostage diplomacy, he actively collaborates with numerous foundations supporting the hostage community. Jose's profound insights and unwavering spirit inspire audiences globally, making him a beacon of hope and strength in challenging times. Get ready to be captivated and transformed by his journey and expertise in leadership and resilience. Well, Jose, thank you for joining us here today. It's delightful to meet you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I'm hoping you can get us started by telling us a little bit about how you got into the work you're doing now and what drives your passion for it.
Well, I'm today a leadership and resilience coach. I'm a speaker, and I became an author too. I published my book 2 weeks ago. And I came here because I went through a very traumatic event in my life. I was working in the oil and gas, and I was kind of finishing my career. And at the last minute, almost getting retired, I received a phone call to go to a business trip to Caracas, Venezuela, because I was working in an oil company here in Houston. I'm based in Houston that belongs to the Venezuelan government. And it began to be a settlement because we were caught. That was in 2017, 7 years ago. And we were caught in the middle of this political thing that was going on in that moment. And that hostage situation for us lasted 5 years. So I stayed 5 years as an international hostage. And I came back in October 2022, less than 2 years ago. So when I came back, I went through a lot of trauma situation. I was suffering PTSD and had to be treated. But I discovered that as far as I was going through my process, that I really could, with my experience, help others. Because I got connected to what is called the hostage community here in the U.S. So I began to meet hostage families, people that are former hostages. And when I begin to connect with that community, I begin to really help. So I decided, okay, let's do something. So this is what you really want to do. So I decided to convert what happened to me. And because I came with those experience, leadership experience in my oil and gas career, I combined it both, and that's why I created a coaching program, and I'm today a leadership and a resilience coach. And I became also a speaker because I began to speak about that. And finally, I wrote my story. That's my book, so I became an author too. So that is my passion today.
And so the title of your book is what?
My book is From Hero to Villain. You can see it here.
From Hero to Villain. Okay.
Yeah, and I put that name because I did a 35-year career in the oil and gas, beginning in Venezuela, when Venezuela was one of the richest countries of Latin America. And I was transferred here to the U.S. So I was like a kind of a hero in my company with all the achievement during 35 years. And in 1 minute, I became one of the worst villains because we were accused to be American spies. So they detained us. We became American spies, and they accused us of a lot of things. They is the Venezuelan government. But at the end, I discovered that everything was a setup because they really wanted to negotiate with the U.S. government a lot of sanctions that were imposing how they got released. Because the problem with the situation that today I'm very aware about that, this is something that is called the hostage diplomacy. So it's a very sophisticated way to do diplomacy that these evil countries apply. So they got normal citizens, maybe with a high target profile, and they use it as political pawns to get negotiated things. So that's what happened to me. By the way, I was not alone. I flew to that meeting with my 5 top executives, and we were 6 guys, and that's why we were known as the Citgo Six. So if you see here in the bottom of my tattoo, it's my true story of the Citgo Six, because that's the name the press put to us. So if you Google Citgo Six, you will find tons of news about our case during 2017, 2018, 2019, 5, 6 years ago.
And so, upon your release, what did you do to begin your healing journey?
Well, one of the first things that's a great question, because when we were released since day one, when we came back to the U.S., we came back to a military base in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, and we were put it in the program that they do for the POW and the MIA. We went to the process. That is a program called PISA. It's a decompression program. I went to that decompression program. And after that, we were transferred to a trauma center that is in North Carolina, Wake Medical Center. So I stayed also there. There is a trauma center. We went through a lot of trauma healing process. And I assigned a therapist that I see her every Thursday. I still see her after 2 years. I'm with her. So this has been kind of evolving process.
And of those things, first you had the decompression program at the military base, and then you had the trauma program out in, did you say it was North Carolina?
North Carolina, in Raleigh, yes.
In Raleigh. And was there a particular tool or technique that was most effective for you, or that you resonated with most?
Well, the compression program that the military uses is wonderful, because they say that you're like a Coca-Cola, you know? So if you shake it and you open it, it will explode. But if you do it very slowly, it begins to slowly decompress. So that's what they did. It was like a real decompression. We begin to go through our process, begin to go through it. But, what really has been helping me a lot is my therapist. Because my therapist, we have been doing a lot of regressions. I have had the opportunity to go back to when I was in my captivity. I have gone back to talk with the guy that was there, that was me, and hug him and say that he's released. And I begin to swim in the night. So in the night, I was swimming with him. I begin to release him in the water. So we begin to get a lot of things letting go. And when I decided to talk like I'm talking today with you, that also has healed me. And my book, by the way, that was awesome. The way writing the book, how it helped me to heal too.
And so when you say doing regressions, are you talking about visualizing, going back as you are now?
Yeah, visualization. Yeah, basically visualization, yes. When I talk about regression, is looking back to myself, to my memories, and going back to those moments.
How close do you feel that you're able to be today to the kind of person you were before this trauma?
Never. You never will be the same person. Never. The person that today I am is a totally different person that I was before. I was a guy that, because as I said, I worked 35 years in the oil and gas. By the way, I was the CEO of the company at the moment. So I was a guy always with a lot of anxieties, always I always tried to set up goals, challenging my life, had a terrible relation with my family. I was almost alcoholic because I was drinking.
So let me just slow you down so I can understand this. What you're saying is, before this trauma, you had a lot of anxiety, and you had a terrible relationship with your family.
Yes.
And you were drinking a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so how would you say you're not at all like that anymore? What's happening with you now?
Because now I'm a guy, first, connected with my family. Second, I became a man of God. I go to my church. I do church service today. I have discovered a lot of things through God. So now I'm a guy that are more conscious about what happened to me was part of a master plan. And now I'm more connected to express gratitude for small things in life that after I didn't, small things in life that I didn't take care. And my wife, the connection with my wife. So I'm a totally different person today.
It sounds like what you're describing is that you prefer the person you are now to the person you were before this trauma.
Of course, of course. And many people ask me if I'm glad what happened to me. And I said, no, I'm not glad what happened to me. What I'm glad is what I learned what happened to me. Is that
what you did with it has made all the difference.
Yes. For me, yes.
And
I'm still in the process. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but now I'm more cautious about the things I have to do.
And that's an important distinction for us in the field, because we don't want to say we're glad that anybody went through a trauma. And yet, if a person takes their life experience, and for some of us that's traumatic, and we choose to use it as a learning and a growth path, we get a different result than if we choose to believe we're a victim and we choose resentment and bitterness as our basic view of what happened to us.
And that's totally true. I don't have bitter. I don't have anger. Even those guys did a lot of bad things to us. I don't think about that. I'm more focused to move on. And the relation with my wife, the relation with my wife now, we both church service now. Now we really are connected after 38 years of marriage. Today, I have a better relation today than ever.
Congratulations. So, how long did it take you to put this book together?
Well, this book has something interesting because the way I wrote the book is that, as I said, we stayed 5 years. And the first year that we stayed there, our situation was terrible because I was in a solitary confinement. So even we were 6 guys, we were separated. So I was in a solitary confinement in my first year. So the first year, can you imagine the things that go in your mind? Your mind is all over the place, and I was having really negative thoughts about that. At some point, the pressure that the U.S. government that got involved, because now I'm aware that my family, since day one, went to the U.S. government to talk, and they got him on board, trying to get a release. And all that pressure, plus the pressure that was going in the press, put a lot of pressure on those guys in Venezuela. So after 1 year, they put us together. When they put us together, they begin to relax a little the situation. So they begin to allow us to bring food from our family, books, and some concessions. When I begin to receive the food, I had to return the trash cans. I begin to smuggle letters in those trash cans. And I begin to get communication with my wife. So we begin doing that, and we kept doing that during 3 years. So we stayed 3 years sending back and forward letters, and we combined between she and me almost 1,000 letters. So my book is based on those letters that I compiled. So writing my book was not so complicated because I already had the letters that was part of the book. The creation of the book took me more than 1 year. Was compiling the letter, understanding my process, going through my healing process, trying to put the things in a way that really I left my legacy. Because the way I wrote my book is that at the end, I have a profound reflection of the things we went through. And I want to put it there to the people that read the book, that anything in your life, you can survive it. So that's the experience I had at the end.
So you probably just answered most of my next question. My next question was going to be, what do you want people to get from this book? What message do you want people to take away from your book?
I call it my legacy. My legacy is that anything in the life, you can survive it, but you need to have the disposition, the proper mindset, the connection with your people, and the connection with God. So when you do all those things and really you take care of yourself and you find your purpose, because I found that in my case, I'm in the path that my purpose is share this story to the people. So for me, this today, my testimony. My testimony, I use it to really put there that anything in your life, you can survive it, because I'm a proof of it. And by the way, the prologue is not my book. It's the director of the trauma center, and he mentioned something. I'm going to read it very, very succinct. Okay, and when he put his introduction, he said, I met Jose a couple of months when he returned of the captivity. And one of the questions that keep popping on my mind is how he did to survive. I was fascinated about his physical and his mental health that he endured during his chronic or toxic stress, enduring a sort of psychological and physical trauma. Yet, like so many other captives that we have served, because they served with former hostages, Jose would attest that the worst trauma of all was the persistent dehumanization. It was not what happened to him, it's the dignity in the life. How did he survive? That's what this question to provide us his story of both that is fascinating and essential.
You were reading there and went a little too fast. He said the worst part was what?
Dehumanization.
The dehumanization. Okay.
This guy treated us like animals.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to read a book of Viktor Frankl, Man in a Search of a Meaning.
Right. Man's Search for Meaning.
And when he wrote his book, he explained that.
Now, did you read his book before you had this experience?
No.
Okay.
I read in there.
Excellent.
I read it there. And when I read it, I really saw that this guy was really talking to me.
Right.
Because the things that we were experiencing, he put it in his book.
Yeah.
I was living it. And he was saying that the worst thing that happened in the concentration camps in the World War II was that dehumanization. And that's what we were experiencing. It's true. When they treat you like an animal, we can...
And if you think of yourself as the animal, you take more damage. But as Viktor Frankl pointed out, if you remember your true self can't be affected by that, then you hold on to that.
Correct. And that's exactly the message. That is exactly the message. That everything is here in your mind. And we got focused in what we were going through because we understood that we were there. We could not do nothing about the situation, but we could handle how we handle the situation. So that's what we decided. And I think that is the beauty of it. And that's what I put in my book. That is my message that I put in my book.
That if people hold on to their essence and they refuse to buy into any belief that what's happening to them is because of them or defines them, they take less damage from the traumatic situation.
Let me tell you something, Tim. At some point, because I'm not going to take the credit alone because we were six. And after 1 year, the six were put it together. And we, the six, did it great. Not me, the six. So we were six executives that with more than 30 years career, always, when you work in the oil and gas, you're always in a stressful situation because oil and gas is like that. And you have to have like a strategic mindset. It's part of the way you behave. So we were six guys with all this, strategic mindset. And we put a lot of brains together and we decided to survive. And the way we did it, I really got proud because we six were like, always cheering each other and we never came down. So we can have moments being down, but, when we came back, the six of us was on high. So really, I'm very proud, not only of me, of the other five guys.
Have you maintained connection with them?
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, in December 27, 6 months ago, before year end, we received a call from the mayor of Houston. He invited to his office. And was a surprise. He did us a proclamation and he created the Single 6 Day here in Houston. So now I have my own day here in Houston. So in December 19th every year is going to be the Single 6 Day here in Houston. And we met the six and we met the families and, we have been in contact.
Do all six still live or did they all live in Houston?
Five. One of them lives in Louisiana near Chalmette. And the other five lives here in Houston. Yeah.
So if you get centered and think about this for a minute, with everything we've talked about so far, is there something you want to go back and repeat or highlight? Or is there another whole aspect or two of your story and the message of hope you want to get out there that you want to talk about?
For me, my message today, as I told you, I'm promoting my book because my book has 2 or 3 weeks that I put it out. And first, of course, it's my baby, it's my story. But the way I decided to put my story out is that the people that read my book really at the end had that sense that, wow, if this guy could do this, I can survive anything in my life. Because sometimes people are going through problems in their life. Who doesn't have a problem? You can be going to any struggle, and you name it. Can be anything. Can be a small thing or a bad thing. But the pattern is always the same. It's your choice. The way you decide to overcome things, very personal choice. But it's in your hand. It's a personal decision. So what I tell the people there is that we decided to handle it and we survived it. So I encourage the people to do the same. So that's a message I want to put out there. And that really my main message, and it became my purpose in life.
And you said that the letters that you were writing to your wife have woven themselves into the book.
Yeah. When the way we did is because my wife, when I came back, she has compiled the letters, because the letter that I was sending to her was to a guy that was sending the information in Venezuela. So he sent it by WhatsApp. But after that, the original he mailed it to her. So when she received the letters here, she compiled it and she put it in Word. So when I came back, we did is we got those documents in Word and we put it and we edited and we converted in the book. So you will see a lot of read things in the book, like you were with me in the jail. What's my thought? What I was thinking in that moment.
And then is also in the book some of the strategy that the six of you use to support each other.
Of course. And that is fundamental, because my coaching program today is based on that. My coaching program I called Life Built for a Survivor Guide, and it's the strategy that we use there. I have a speech today where I talk about that, because we use techniques that are really common sense, but are very effective. Because we did things that we can take 1 hour talking about that here, but we did like a survivor plan, and we did it in a very comprehensive way every day during the last 4 years. We stayed doing it every day. It was a daily basis, a daily routine that we follow, from the early in the morning to late in the night. And it concluded with praying and reading the Bible, by the way. We did a lot of reading and praying. And we did a lot of meditation, yoga, push-up. We were like hamsters doing things all the day.
Excellent. So is there a website you use to drive people to, or if people want to reach out to you,
Yes.
what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yes, I have my website. That's very easy, because it's www.joseconnect, Jose my name, joseconnect.com. You go to my webpage, you will find my coaching, you will see my speaking. You can book me there. And by the way, I have a lot of video speaking that I already have done. I was invited to the Congress. I was in the Congress talking about this. I was invited in September to the UN too. I did a speech in the UN. And I have been invited to several foundations, NGOs, and I have been talking. I really have been talking a lot. I have been invited to several events. And I have links there to my book, to Amazon, Barnes and Noble. So Jose Connect, you can go there.
Jose Connect, CONNECT.com.
Uh-huh.
And is the book out available on Amazon and other places?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Ingers Park, Digital, Bookshed, and like 10 more platforms. Like it's all over, but people normally go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble. They're more typical, but it's all over. I have in all the versions in the
from hero to villain.
From hero to villain.
The story of the Citgo Six.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for being willing to take the time to talk to us today. I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Okay, great.
And if as you progress and you write another book of your coaching or successes or different levels of your progress, I'd be happy to hear from you and get access to that as well.
Okay, great. By the way, I have already 2 more books already written, because my first book was like a 600-page book, and I divided it in 3. So this book is a trilogy. It's really a trilogy.
This book is a trilogy?
Yes.
But this was the one that just got published as the first book of the trilogy?
Yes. But the other book I have already ready to publish. as far as this book is promoted, maybe next year.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your courage and for sharing your story and for being willing to come and share it with us.
Glad to be with you. Thank you.
Jose Pereira is a highly acclaimed leadership and resilience coach, author, and motivational speaker. He's known for his compelling personal story of resilience as an international hostage for 5 years. Jose has penned the powerful memoir, From Hero to Villain. As one of the most vocal voices in the United States on hostage diplomacy, he actively collaborates with numerous foundations supporting the hostage community. Jose's profound insights and unwavering spirit inspire audiences globally, making him a beacon of hope and strength in challenging times. Get ready to be captivated and transformed by his journey and expertise in leadership and resilience.
You've been listening to the On Your Mind podcast, offered by Journey's Dream, where we support people through mental health challenges to a place of true and lasting well-being. If you love our show, we invite you to visit onyourmindpodcast.org to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our helpful resources. Thank you for listening.